But look, it's and this is the larger point here too. I want to say, it's nice to see some capex go back into the parks, and I wanted to go ahead and leave it off with this. Now that we have, I don't know if I made this point 100% clear in yesterday's video, but I wanted to go ahead and reiterate here that now with Chapek obviously extended for 3 years, there has been some rumblings in many places now that the attention might switch over to the parks from the studio. That there might be a little bit of a prioritization shift, which is good. Go ahead.
Which is good. And not to cut you off, but that rumor, I believe, started with our friend Braden, right? From Mickey Views.
Yes. Yeah. But I saw some of the other trades actually putting out that rumor as well. Which, if that is the case, and we're kind of seeing the fruits of that a little bit. I mean, look at Finding Nemo Submarine Voyage. A lot of people have felt that wasn't going to be back, at all. And yet, it was given a little bit of a refurbishment itself. Obviously, Pirates of the Caribbean was heavily refurbed. Nolan Square was, heavily redone and so forth. So it does look like there's a little bit of CapEx going back into the parks now. But from what I understand, Chapek, he might be looking at the spreadsheet and going, hey, look, listen. We have a money suck in Disney in Disney Plus, right? It will make us money, obviously, and we still have to keep up on that front. But it's not making us money maybe now. So could we take maybe some of those dollars that we've allocated towards content production and put it back into what is making us money now, which is the theme parks? I think that is good. I think a little bit more balanced approach in terms of that would be beneficial to everybody.
Well, yeah, and yeah, it would. My only fear, though, is it's kind of two things, right? Like, for example, when Walt Disney first built Disneyland, it was also kind of a money pit. It wasn't making money. He poured all this money into it without much return right away, right? But it was sort of like the seed planting for the future, right? Eventually, it'll make us money. And that's kind of how I see Disney Plus. Is it making money right now? No. And it's obviously not going to make the money that the parks are making right now, because the parks are very much a matured industry. They've been there for 60 plus years. You know what I'm saying? Disney Plus is a new market. So sure. Disney Plus is really where the parks were in 1955 or 1956. Where they're still, like, you're pouring money into something that isn't necessarily returning a profit yet, but eventually it will. So my only fear is I hope Chapek understands that. We're like, don't completely dismiss Disney Plus because it's not making the money right now, because it is definitely the future. You still want to invest and plant those seeds and help and nurture it so it grows, just like they did with the parks in the 50s.
Oh, yeah. And that is absolutely going forward. We heard Christine Wastelands McCarthy talk about how they were spending, they've already spent tens of billions of dollars on content, their kind of content production distribution capabilities, which is kind of vague, but I believe it goes into not just obviously server capacity and theater space and just all kinds of stuff, but they've already spent money with the intent of increasing that growth, increasing that segment, and increasing content output, right? So a lot of that infrastructure has been laid. I think now it might be, obviously they're going to have to be competitive on that front. They're a studio first, no question. Absolutely, 100%. But it is one of those things where it's like, the parks are making us money.
Yeah.
Now they're providing the revenue and profit for everything that we want to do, basically, within the various divisions. I think it is not only appropriate but responsible to spend a little bit of that money back. I'm not talking a whole lot. I'm just talking just a little bit of a reprioritization. Maybe it's not $30 billion one way and zero the other. Maybe it's more like, hey, 25 billion here, maybe 10 billion here, that kind of thing. So I think we're in good shape.
Absolutely. And and it's frustrating. Like, I just saw before we close it out, I just saw a fantastic video of the new train float for Tokyo Disneyland's Main Street Electrical Parade. I think in Tokyo they call it Dreamlights.
Yes, Dreamlights.
And it's all done up in like these amazing LEDs. It looks like fucking gorgeous. Of course,
it's got the smokestack with the whole going back and forth there. I mean, it's like it looks ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Tokyo shows over and over again how perfect they are, and we're always so jealous. But it's like it's frustrating as fans of Disney or fans of theme parks, where it's like, okay, so we have executives like Bob Iger spending $70 billion for the X-Men and the Simpsons on Disney Plus, but yet we can't get an upgrade on the Main Street Electrical Parade to LEDs. We can't get off of the Christmas lights. It's obviously, look, I understand like 30 years ago, they didn't want to keep the parade. Fine. Obviously now though, Disney, you want to keep the parade. You're trotting it out every chance you get. If you're going to keep the parade, which it looks like you're going to keep the parade, then upgrade the lights, get the LEDs that Tokyo has, and really, really make this parade spectacular. And they won't do it, but they'll spend, $70 billion on X-Men and Disney and the Simpsons on Disney Plus. It's very, very frustrating. And that's the kind of the unfair balance we're seeing. I think you're talking about, where it's, come on, guys, they nickel and dime things on one side, and then on the other side, it's like no expense spared.
This is a conversation that's that needs a little bit more of a deeper discussion, because it is a fascinating thing, right? I mean, and look, I think Tokyo, the Oriental Land Company, I mean, what are they in? They're in land holdings, but they're also in theme parks. It's not too much a juggle between the two, right? And Tokyo is just a marketing rich market. It's crazy, or a merchandise rich market. It's insane. So it's a little bit different of a valuation, but it's one of these things that the company is so big, it's their attention spans are spread out between all these different divisions and so forth. I like to think of it like Royal Caribbean, right? All they do is cruise lines. And as a result, they've really kind of innovated in that space, because that's their primary focus. Similar to like Marriott, right? All they do is hotels, guest accommodations, all that kind of stuff. And they've innovated in that space, and that's where their focus is, and they execute at a very high level as a result. Well, when you have theme parks, resorts, hotels, cruise lines, the studios, and there are 4 different studios, and everybody's clamoring for attention, for money, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you get what you get, and it really is unfortunate, and hopefully they can, like you said, right? Can we get a little bit of Dreamlights, Come on. And it's just to talk about how expensive these things are, really, and how $70 billion is insane. It took anywhere between $5 to $8 billion to build all of Shanghai Disneyland back in 2016. With all the cost overruns, all that kind of stuff, $5 to $8 billion. Could you imagine a portion of that $70 billion going to the parks division? It'd be insane.
Just a sliver, just a fucking sliver of that to do our Tomorrowland would go very, very far. Just do
unbelievable.
$1 billion for our Tomorrowland. We'd have an incredible.
It'd be world class.
Yeah, so
it'd be world class.
Yeah, and we can go on for a long time with that, and there is a lot to discuss about that. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll do another video on that, because there's a lot to discuss there. Tokyo is a massive sort of like inspiration, I think, or kind of like what our park should strive for,
right?
Because they get it right so often.
Have you seen the photo?
Not always. Their Fantasmic was kind of booty cheek,
Yeah, right. Well, look, have you seen the new fantasy area that they're building in Tokyo Disney Seas? It looks absolutely incredible. So, Hey, look, sometimes they get it right. Well, I'm sorry. Sometimes they get it wrong, I should say. But a lot more times than often, they get it really, really right. So maybe we should get into that.
Yeah, we will definitely do that one day. Absolutely.